Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Crystal. Nice to meet you. And today's video is going to be a more personal video and just a video about a topic that hits home to me. And so yeah, let's just get started. So today I'm going to be talking about eating disorders. And there are so many different eating disorders out in the world. There's bulimia, there's anorexia, binge eating disorder, body dysmorphia. One of the things that all eating disorders have in common is that it takes over the person's life and it kind of like switches your mentality in a way. The only way to really explain what an eating disorder is like, I feel like, is by sharing my personal story with you. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you about my eating disorder. Okay, so what is binge eating disorder? In a few words, the way I can describe it is overeating to the point of no return. So by that I mean you literally overeat to your max capacity until you feel so full that it hurts. I also looked up a definition on Google. Frequently consuming unusually large amount of food in one sitting and feeling that eating behavior is out of control. Another definition is the repeated inability to control consumption of large amounts of food at one time, often followed by induced vomiting. So basically, one who struggles with binge eating disorders can't control when they stop eating, and it's usually done in like hidden, like you don't want anyone to see you do it because it's shameful and embarrassing. And through my experience, one of the things that I used to do is wait. Like, I had a retail job, so I would work long hours. I would work from like 1 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. and I would arrive at home like at 11 o'clock at night. And most of the time, all my roommates and stuff were always asleep. I would come home hungry, thinking I was just gonna snack on something small before bed. And I would literally serve myself like 5 bowls of cereal. I would then go and look for snacks like chips and cookies. And there was even this one time that I left my house to go find food like at 7-Eleven. I remember getting a little tub of ice cream and just like more chips and stuff. And I came home and I just watched TV and I ate it all. The part that kills you most about binge eating disorder is it's not the during, because the during, it's kind of like it feels like you're on a drug, like it's a high, and you don't really realize like how fast you're eating or what you're doing, but it's just like you eat so fast and like your mind and your brain are different, and so your mind's telling you to stop, that you're trying to be healthy, like you're not trying to eat these types of foods, but your brain is telling you eat. Like, you just eat. Because one of the things about food is that food can be something that people use as comfort. And when you're struggling with things like I remember I was very and severely depressed, and I was very self-conscious and had like low self-esteem, and I was down there, I was not happy at the time, and I had struggled a lot with accepting my body for what it looked like. I at one point was bulimic, which was when I would starve myself to stay thin, and if I ate anything I would throw it up. That kind of led me to the binge eating, because when I would eat things that I didn't allow myself to eat. And so when I would eat them, it kind of turned a switch in my head where it was like, okay, you ate, but now you have to go throw it up because that was bad. You had a bag of hot Cheetos, go throw it up. You had like even bread, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, go throw that up. And so that became a habit for me. It became something I used as comfort, something I could control. One of the things that I learned in therapy was actually that I personally had this eating disorder was because a lot of the things going on in my world, in my life, kind of felt out of control, and this was the only thing that I could control. My eating habits, like throwing up my food, like my weight. And at the time I was very active. I had a gym membership, and at school I had a gym class, and so I would work out all of the time thinking that this was just a healthy lifestyle that I was trying to promote and like be part of, but at the same time I wasn't doing it I wasn't doing it in a healthy way. I was listening to this monster in my brain telling me that my body wasn't perfect enough, and that I wasn't skinny enough, and I was worthless, and if I wasn't skinnier, then I wasn't pretty or beautiful. My eating disorder continued. I would starve myself a few days, and then into binging, and then it just became a cycle of binging and starving myself and binging and throwing up, and it was so bad. I remember I was at my lowest point in my life when I had this eating disorder. Correct that, when my eating disorder was out of control. Let me just give you a scenario. One time I got out of work. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and I was hungry because I had been starving myself that whole day. And I probably had a few snacks here and there, something not so bad. But I remember that after I left work, I was so hungry. It was like just like noticeably hungry. Like my stomach was growling like crazy, and I just drove to McDonald's, and I ordered a Happy Meal and a McFlurry and some French fries, and by the time I got to the freeway, which was like 15 minutes away, I was already like done with my meal, and I was still hungry. And so you know what I did? I drove to In-N-Out, and I got another meal there. After that, I wasn't full still, and I felt completely empty, like I could eat so much more. And so I remember driving to Carl's Jr., and I grabbed some chicken strips, and I started to feel a little like my stomach was bothering me, and so I remember whenever I would binge, I would always get either a Monster or a like Diet Coke or some sort of soda, because the bubbles would soothe my stomach. So I came home that night, and I remember I just sat in my room, and I cried. I cried for hours, like holding my belly, because it was so full, and I had so much regret. Like I didn't know why I couldn't control myself. Like I knew what I was doing, but at the same time, like I couldn't stop myself. And that's what binging eating is. I don't know what it was that like completely kind of helped me transition out of that, but some of the things that I did do was I was seeing a therapist, and so my therapist, she's a wonderful human being. She's so nice, and she really cares about me. And I would always tell her about my eating disorder and how I would binge and purge and starve myself, and I couldn't tell anymore what I looked like. I couldn't tell if I was fat anymore, or skinny, or too fat, or too skinny, or right in the middle, or my body was just good. You know what I mean? I couldn't tell anymore when I look in the mirror, and still to this day, I can't tell. You know, your mind is just like always kind of like judging you. So, you know, like one day I'll feel pretty, and the other day I'll feel like ugly, and it's one day I'll feel fat, and the other day I'll feel beautiful and skinny. And that's so sad to say I said beautiful and skinny together, you see. One of the techniques that I used to help me through my binge eating disorder, and that my therapist recommended, was cognitive behavioral therapy. And I want to share with you the definition for it. Cognitive behavioral therapy is often used by therapists to help people overcome their negative thinking patterns and replace them with healthier, more positive thoughts. By reframing your thinking, you improve your mental outlook, which then results in a more and more positive attitude, behavior, and life outcomes. Old negative patterns of thinking are often rooted in childhood abuse or trauma, and CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, helps create new thought pathways in the brain, which help expand your horizons and create a better future. Okay, so I want to share with you guys one of the techniques that my therapist, her name's Isabella, by the way, and I want to share with you guys one of the things that she shared with me, which really stuck with me and kind of helped me out of binges when they would happen. She explained that binging is like a train. Let's say you have, so one of the things that kind of caused me to binge sometimes is triggers, like food triggers, or I can be like really depressed that day and just be so negative on a day where I need that comfort of food. So you're on the train and let's say I got triggered and I'm triggered by this cupcake. I decided to eat this cupcake, which in my mind I have thought about the cupcake as a bad food and not a good food. And so she always says a cupcake is just a cupcake. It's not bad or good. Eating is not black and white, it's gray, and there's shades of gray everywhere, and you can't just decide that this cupcake is bad. If you overindulge in something, like even if you overindulge in something that's not considered bad food, you're still overeating. So it doesn't matter what it is, just always think about it as food. So a cupcake is a cupcake, but in my head, a cupcake is bad. Okay, so we're on the choo-choo train, choo-choo, choo-choo, and so you're on this train of negative thoughts. Oh no, I ate this cupcake, it has bad calories. Oh no, I'm gonna get fat. Oh no, I shouldn't have done that. Now I ruined my healthy eating. Why do I need to keep eating? Why do I need to be healthy? Why can't I just eat whatever I want whenever I please to? I'm just gonna eat the whole fridge. I'm just gonna go to the store and buy a pizza. I'm just gonna go to Carl's Jr. and buy this. I'm just gonna binge. I'm just gonna eat, and your brain is like, eat, go get food, eat, go get food. And you're seeking that comfort of the food, and you're like, yeah, I need that food. Okay, so cognitive behavioral therapy will help you. You're on this train of negativity, and you're spiraling down, and you're kind of leading yourself through to a binge for thinking the way you're thinking. But with cognitive behavioral therapy, I learned that you can jump off that train. You can think those thoughts, but not stay in them and drown them. You can ride the train for a little, but jump off. You control what your mind, like you're trying to switch your mind around and not think that this cupcake was bad for you. Because in the long run, you think about it, what's worse for you? The binge or the cupcake? I would say the binge is worse than the cupcake. Yeah, so that's one of the techniques I learned, and that really helped. Another thing is learning to control my thoughts when it comes to my body, making and manifesting positive thoughts, like telling myself that I'm beautiful every morning. And if I do feel ugly, not letting myself drown in those thoughts of you're ugly, you know. And another thing is, I did read this book that I wanted to share with you guys as well, and I have watched tons of videos on YouTube with girls that have struggled through the same stuff that I've been struggling, and that really helped. So I want to show you a book that I found through YouTube, and I'll be right back with that video and with this book. This book is called Brain Over Binge, and is written by Katherine Hansen. I found this book through Josie Mai. It's a really good book. It pretty much talks about how your brain, it has two parts of it. So your brain has two parts to it. There's the monster half, and then there's the normal human half. And so when your body wants to binge, it's your monster mind speaking and not your human mind. And so when someone is and has binge eating disorder, it's basically means that you have let your monster mind take over your whole mind. And so this book teaches for you to learn to listen to your mind, your thoughts, and sit with them. And the practice through this book is that you get the urge to binge, but you don't follow through with it. Like, try this. Is one of the tactics that I learned in this book was that you have to, I don't know, set a timer for like 30 minutes. And for those whole 30 minutes, you can't get up. Like, just sit on the couch with your binge eating mind. And sit there and let it attack you. Let the monster go. Like, let him tell you that you need this food to feel better. And like, just let it happen. And eventually it will go away. You won't die if you don't eat. And your monster mind wants you to think that you're gonna die if you eat. Because it's hungry for something. And so you just have to think about what that something is. Yeah, that's how I first kind of controlled my binge eating disorder. I didn't do it by myself. Like I said, I had it through therapy and through this book, and also through watching Josie Mai, who I learned a little more from her, which is this tactic called intuitive eating. Intuitive eating is listening to your body and giving it what it needs. So vegetables, like carbs, everything that you like to eat, you can eat as long as you eat it in moderation and you don't deprive yourself from it. Moderation, not deprivation. So basically, from the time that I had my uncontrollable eating disorder to now, I've been eating intuitively. And, you know, I have gained some weight through eating intuitively, but I've also learned to live comfortably. And I'm like a little more happy now that I eat whatever I want. And I don't deprive myself of any of the food that I love. Like, I love hot Cheetos, I love pizza, I love everything carbs, and so I let myself have some of it. Okay, so that was my binge eating disorder story, and I hope you guys learned just a little something from it. And if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those down below. If you guys want to see any more videos on maybe how I meal prep, or a full day of intuitive eating, or anything having to do with eating disorders, just comment down below and let me know what you want to see. If you guys like this video, please like that like button wherever it is, and please subscribe if you're new. It would mean the world to me, and I would love for you guys to join my YouTube family. So yeah, have a good day, guys. Bye.